My boyfriend accused me of lying about hooking up with his friend and kicked me out. Then he said his friend just joked about it to test me and begged for forgiveness. My boyfriend and I have been dating for about 10 weeks now. When he officially asked me to be his girlfriend, we mutually agreed to take things slow. Now, after almost 3 months, we decided it was time to meet each other's closest friends. I know he has told his guy friends about me before, but it would always be very vague. They just knew he was seeing someone. Now on Monday, me and my boyfriend were hanging out when I noticed he was being distant. For example, when I snuggled up on him, he would not hug me or anything like that, which he usually does. I thought he was just having a bad day, so I initiated intimacy thinking it would lighten up his mood. After that, I asked him if he was hungry and if he wanted to order some food, to which he just shrugged and said, "Don't know, I don't really care." At that moment, I kind of snapped and told him he should just tell me if he wanted me to leave instead of treating me like that. He was silent for about 20 seconds and then asked me if I know a guy friend of his. I'll just name him Alex. I told boyfriend I know him from when he's taking about his friends, but I haven't known him before I met him. He asked me if I was sure, and I said yes, 100%, because I am sure I have never met this guy in my life before my boyfriend. My boyfriend was silent, again, looked at me and said, "Fine," and started putting on his shoes and jacket to leave. I asked him what's wrong and where he's going. He just said, "I would have been fine with you hooking up with one of my friends before, but the lying is something I'm not putting up with. I'll go for a walk, and I want you to be gone when I'm back," before slamming the door in my face. I literally stood there in shock, questioning if it was some kind of a sick prank. After about 3 minutes, when I realized he was actually gone, I called my best friend and told her about what just happened. I was so confused, I couldn't even cry. I was just in shock. I eventually packed my stuff and left, after my best friend told me it's probably the best to just give him time and space. My best friend picked me up at his place, and we drove straight to hers since she didn't want me to sleep alone that night. I texted him, "I just want to let you know that I have no idea what you were talking about earlier. I'm not lying, and I do not know Alex. I'm very confused right now, but I want to give you the time and space you might need. Right now. Please call me when you are ready to talk. I don't want to lose you over something like that. I love you." And turned off my phone before trying to sleep that night so I wouldn't stare at my phone every 2 minutes, hoping he replied to my text. Obviously, I couldn't sleep that night, so I turned on my phone at around 3 a.m. to a lengthy text from him, mainly stating how disappointed he is and how much I've hurt him. He told me he wanted to talk the next day at his house. At around 4 p.m., my best friend drove me back to his house and waited in the car for me. My boyfriend was already waiting for me, and I wanted to hug him, but he asked me not to touch him. I broke down crying in that moment. I couldn't get a word out, and he tried calming me down. He eventually started talking and told me he was hanging out with 5 of his guy friends when he casually brought up that him and I are official now, and he wants me to join the next time the other guys bring their girlfriends. They congratulated him. Some of them asked questions like how old I am, where we met, etc. Alex asked him to show him a picture of me, which my boyfriend did when Mo, one of his other friends, looked at Alex, and Alex just asked my boyfriend if he's joking. My boyfriend asked them why he would be joking, and Alex basically told him that me and Alex used to hook up occasionally for about 5 months 2 years ago. Mo immediately accused my boyfriend of breaking bro code, telling him there was no way he didn't know. The other guys joined, saying it's not breaking bro code because Alex just banged me and it was nothing serious. My boyfriend was mortified and told him he never knew Alex was seeing me and I never told him, even though I've seen him when boyfriend showed me pictures of his friend or when Alex would snap him or things like that. My boyfriend asked him if he didn't recognize me before from the things he's told the guys about me or when he would post candid pictures of me like me walking in front of my boyfriend, etc. He said no, because I changed a lot. Which is true. I lost about 50 pounds and wear my hair different now. My boyfriend said Alex knew oddly specific things about my body like tattoos you cannot see unless I'm in underwear or scars, etc. At this point, I was freaking out because I honestly have no clue where he knows this details from. My boyfriend said it hurt him to find out this way, but he would have gotten past it because he could understand me being uncomfortable telling him about my past with one of his friends, but he won't forgive me the lying straight in his face. I know my boyfriend has some trauma regarding lies and dishonesty, which is why I would never lie to him. I told him exactly that, but he didn't believe me. and I can't blame him. Everything Alex told him sounds real, and while I'm desperately trying to win my boyfriend back, I'm freaking out about the fact that Alex knows what I look like naked. My boyfriend told me he does not know if he can move on from that. I asked him if he wanted a break, and he just said, "I don't know." I apologized, and no looking back, he probably thinks that was my way of admitting. I left his place and broke down in my best friend car crying again. It's been 2 days, and he hasn't said anything. This uncertainty is eating me. I honestly do not know what to do right now. How do I fix this relationship? Edit: my best friend thinks he's lying to get a way out. She thinks he's realizing things are getting serious with us talking about meeting each other's friends and wants some excuse to break up now, and his friends probably don't even know we're official yet. It just doesn't make any sense he was the one to bring up meeting each other's friends. Also, I feel like even though I might sound naive, he wouldn't lie to me. At least I hope he wouldn't. I've come to Reddit because all my friends and family are telling me to just let him go because he's not worth it, but I honestly feel so heartbroken right now because it's something I had no control over. I've been making all kinds of suggestions to my boyfriend, but he's ignoring me. I just can't believe it's so easy for him to cut me out of his life completely. Update: hey guys, I've read all the comments you've been leaving under my last post, and even though I've been on Reddit for a minute now, I realized I really don't know how to do this update stuff the right way, but I'll try anyways. First off, thank you all so much for all the comments and advice. Even though I didn't like reading some things you guys said at the time, it opened my eyes. I did not sleep with my ex-boyfriend's friend. I'm not lying. I know everyone I've ever slept with, and he's not one of them. In the days after my initial post when my ex went radio silent, I had all the time in the world to reflect about this relationship, and I started to realize that there were only two options. Either my ex was lying to me, or Alex was lying to him. I stopped reaching out to my ex, and I guess it made him suspicious. 3 days after my post, my ex reached out to me through text asking me if we could talk. At this point, I wasn't sad, but mad. I texted him a message basically saying that I'm not insane and I know what I did and what not. That either Alex is ruining our relationship or he's my ex lying to me and I'm done being framed as a bad person when I've done nothing wrong. I also told him that at this point, there was no going back for me. Especially as I realized I started to build resentment towards him for sleeping with me right before everything blew up. So I'd rather wrap this breakup up as fast as possible. He read this message and was typing for like 20 minutes before calling me. He was crying and asking if we could meet up. I complied, but under the condition that the brings all my stuff because I was not playing this game anymore. I'm currently staying at my parents' house, so he drove here still crying when he arrived. I honestly just wanted him to drop off my stuff and leave because I was scared I was going to cave in eventually. He asked me if he could come inside so he could explain himself. I asked what's there to explain, but he insisted I deserve the truth before breaking up completely. So I let him in and we sat down to talk in my room. He started by saying that I am the woman of his dreams, and he just messed up for life and how empty life was without me, and I started crying as well. I asked him to please stop and just tell me what's going on. He literally broke down sobbing hysterically to the point where I told him to calm down and breathe. He basically told me that Alex did tell him that he slept with me and that I'm not wifey material and he should break up with me. Alex told my ex to just ghost me because he doesn't need to justify himself and I don't deserve closure. My ex, however, wanted me to admit to sleeping with Alex, so he came up with his plan to test me. He lied about Alex knowing about my scars or tattoos to see how I would react so he could get a definite answer. He said he felt like my reaction to him telling me felt like I was lying, and Alex was telling the truth. My ex told his friends about breaking up with me when Alex was freaking out at him for telling me that Alex has said that he slept with me. They argued back and forth until my ex asked him if he was lying, to which Alex said that he's not lying, but he just doesn't want his business out there like that, and that he swore to me that he would never tell anyone about sleeping with me. At this point, I interrupted my ex, asking him if he seriously believes that, and he said no, that was when he realized Alex was lying to him. My ex said that he drove to Alex's place to talk crap out in person, but Alex's roommates wouldn't let him in since my ex seemed too upset, so he drove to one of his other guy friends who was there too when Alex claimed he slept with me. Without going in too much more detail, my ex and his friend had a long talk. The friend told him that Alex had always talked crap about my ex for dating me. For context, I'm colored and my ex and his friends, except for one, are white. Alex would make jokes or share memes about colored B-word, and how no white dude in his right mind would turn to a colored woman and some other pretty disturbing stuff I won't share on here. My ex's friends thought it was weird, but really didn't pay no mind because it's always been Alex's humor to make toxic jokes, and they thought he was just frustrated about being single. Well, my ex said he thinks Alex did all of this because he's low-key racist and didn't want one of his friends to date outside of their race. I asked him, what about this crap is low-key, and how irresponsible it was of him to not warn me, and also subject me to people like this. He apologized profusely, saying he never really saw it until now, which I find really hard to believe. I was honestly speechless about how my ex lied to me, tested me how he's casually hanging out with racists. My ex went on telling me how amazing I am, and he can't believe he ruined everything for another 5 minutes or so, until I asked him if there's anything important left he needs to tell me, or if anything is still unsaid. He said no, and that he doesn't want to be selfish, but all he could ask is for me to consider the possibility of mending this relationship with the help of God. I didn't say anything and just got up, opened the door and asked him if he had my stuff in his car. He said yes. So we went downstairs and I got my stuff out of his car. He asked if he could hug me. I said, I don't know. So he hugged me and told me he's sorry, and I went inside again to call my best friend. My ex has reached out to me about 10 times or so until I blocked him everywhere. One of his guy friends' girlfriends even reached out to me saying that she feels for me and that she met Alex and he never once said something like this in front of her and how we've all been deceived. I told her that as good as her intentions might be, she should tell my ex if he still has some respect for me, he would make sure that nor him or one of his acquaintances would ever reach out to me again. As weird as it may sound, but finding all of this out just made it easier for me to move on from him. I am still in shock and I'm still hurt. But I realized that in the time of us dating, I never knew who he or his friends were. In the past weeks, I've really started to heal and reflect on me and my attachment style, as some of you suggested. I've never been single or not dating anyone for longer than a month, and I tend to get wrapped up in my emotions so easily, and I realized that I was always a little scared to be completely single. On top of that, I tend to fall for people who carry a lot of emotional burden themselves. So I'm working on that at the moment. I'm sorry if you expected a dramatic plot twist of me admitting to sleeping with Alex or anything like that. And thank you again, guys, for all the comments. Edit me. Breaking up with him wasn't a punishment, but a decision I made for myself. Honestly, yes, I was disappointed and shocked after everything my ex told me, but I wasn't mad at him. There is just no way the relationship could have been continued after what has happened. 1. Because I had zero trust in him anymore, which leads to 2. I only know about Alex's racist tendencies through third parties. What if it's even worse than I've been told, and Alex is a serious danger for me to be around? I also didn't want to put myself in the position to make my ex choose between me and Alex, and potentially his whole friend group. I'm not the best to stand my ground or set boundaries, especially when it comes to romantic relationships, and I've taken many exes back in the past, but this is something you cannot come back from. Story 2. My girlfriend's weird friend asked me to open our relationship so he could sleep with her. I've been with my girlfriend Emily for 4 years now. Emily has a close friend, Jeff, who I have never liked. The guy has always come off as skeevy, whiny, and creepy to me. I've heard things about him from ex-friends and even current ones that make him just come off as pathetic and creepy. I could go on about it, but I'll cut to the chase though. The real reason I do not like Jeff is that he has always been interested in Emily. They met in middle school, and he's had a crush on her since then. He's tried and failed multiple times over the years to get her to like him. Ever since I came into her life and we started dating, he's always given me the feeling that he's orbiting, waiting for us to break up to try again. He's backed off romantically, though, and hasn't tried anything for the 4 years we've been together. Jeff has been a sore topic for me and Emily. Even though I don't like him, she and her friends do. I've made it clear to her that I don't like him, but I've never interfered with her friendship with him because I've always trusted her when she tells me she feels nothing romantically for him. This all changed last week. Jeff's own romantic life can only be described as unusual. From what I know, mostly one-night stands and third-wheel scenarios. He's openly poly, and I've heard far too much about it from him. Not the lifestyle for me, but whatever suits you. What got to me, though, was how he would talk about it to the people in monogamous relationships in his friend group, pitching it as if he was trying to sell them on it for other reasons. Last week, Emily and I tagged along with her friends for an outing. We ended up at a dive late at night for drinks, and Jeff tagged along with the two of us. He was incredibly off-putting to me the entire night, much more than usual, acting all buddy-buddy with me to an uncomfortable degree. As we sat and chatted, he brought up his most recent relationship from a few months back. A poly relationship where he was third-wheeling another couple. It was very awkward. Much more so when out of nowhere he recommended we try something like that ourselves. The short of it is, he asked us to open our relationship and become a triad with him. He knows I'm straight, so what he really meant was, he wants to freak Emily and for me to be okay with it. Emily declined, and I wanted to tear into the creep. However, Emily made me go to her car so she could pay for our drinks and leave knowing I was about to make a scene. Suffice it to say, I am not comfortable with her continuing to associate with him. I've made it clear that what he did was completely disrespectful of our relationship and that I don't trust him not to do something more sinister at this point. Emily, however, disagrees. She's saying this is just how Jeff operates, which makes me even more uncomfortable with the situation. He's not neurotypical, and her whole friend group has used that as an excuse for so long I'm sick of hearing it. We have been arguing non-stop about this now. She doesn't think this is enough of a reason to cut him off, and I cannot understand why. Her friend group has essentially decided to stay out of it as well. I did share my thoughts with someone I know who is an ex-friend of Jeff's from high school. I also learned that Jeff has tried to break up Emily and her boyfriends before, and he thinks this is another attempt. She was planning on going out Friday with friends to a movie which included Jeff. We ended up having another massive argument in which I told her to not come back if she left. She's been staying at her parents' house since. Right now, I feel like I'm living in freaking bizarro land. Every single weird thing about her and her friends now sticks out like porcupine quills. It's like I'm the only one who sees a problem with what Jeff did, and that my opinion does not matter. Emily refuses to tell me what about Jeff is so important and endearing he's worth this. It's like to her this is just normal or something. How do I even proceed at this point? It feels like I'm just being walked over. How can I convey how uncomfortable I am at this, or is it even worth it at this point? TLDR, my girlfriend Emily has a friend Jeff who has had a crush on her since middle school. He asked us to open the relationship so he can date the both of us despite me and him both being straight men. I've not tried to put any restrictions on who Emily can be friends with, but now I feel completely uncomfortable with her continuing to associate with him. She and her friends disagree and have moved on like nothing happened. Update. I wasted the last 4 years of my life with a girl we'll call Emily. I thought she was a good and honest person. Boy, was I wrong. Emily had a close friend named Jeff. I never understood it. Jeff is a creepy and pathetic man who has orbited her since middle school. He's neurodivergent, at least that's what their friend group has used as an excuse for his actions. He's always had a crush on Emily. According to ex-friends, he's tried his hardest to get her to like him since they met. Emily does not like Jeff any more than a friend. Even then, the way she talks about him to me makes me feel she's completely disgusted by him physically. Along with her honesty, it made me never question their friendship, even if Jeff was obviously orbiting waiting for us to break up. A few weeks ago, Jeff asked us to try out polyamory so he could have intimacy with Emily. I was furious. I wanted to put him in his place, but Emily stopped me. She seemed to have no problem with him asking even though she turned him down. Her whole friend group acted like this was just a normal thing to ask. That made me upset and mad that he would dare disrespect our relationship like that was wrong. It was a me problem. There are things that should have clued me into the fact that her friend group was a circus. I just ignored it, however. After the polyamory incident, I couldn't, though. The things that ex-friends told me about Jeff and Emily made me ask questions and start digging. I ended up contacting one of Emily's ex and learned something very interesting. In high school, Jeff was giving Emily hundreds of dollars he was stealing from his parents. I and Emily had been arguing constantly after Jeff asked the question. She had been staying with her parents for a time while things cooled off. Once she showed back up at our place this week, I decided to confront her and asked if Jeff was giving her money. She denied it at first, but I told her if she does not tell me the truth, I will forward many of the texts she sent me commenting about Jeff's body and face to Jeff himself. Jeff has been giving money to Emily since they met. For the entire 4 years we were together, he was sending her sometimes hundreds of dollars each month. Her texts with him are flirty in nature. While not outright saying she's interested in him, she's heavily implied it. acting like it's just not the right time for her to be with him. She has reaffirmed to me that she's not interested in him. In fact, she's implied she actually hates his guts. I asked if her friends are also taking money from Jeff, and she said she did not know. I packed my crap up yesterday and am staying with my brother till I find a new place. I blocked Emily. I sent Jeff a text, simply showing him how Emily talked about him to me. I'm 99% sure Jeff is stealing from his parents still as he lives with them. I found his parents' numbers and texted them letting them know what's happening. Moving on from 4 wasted years is going to be tough.